It's been a little over 2 months now since the release of Sonic X Shadow Generations, and I feel like I'm ready to tell you guys whether or not the game is good as a speedrun or not. Hi, my name is Emerldd. If you don't know me, I've speedran tons of different games, mainly Sonic games over the years. Wow, almost 10 years. Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Unleashed. So I have a ton of experience. So I have a pretty good gauge for what makes a good speed game. So let's talk about that. The first thing that I would like to think about when I'm picking a speed game that I would like to play is length. And now there's a ton of depth that could go into that decision, especially if you're a very seasoned speedrunner. Some people prefer longer speedruns because they give you more opportunity to make mistakes. It is more likely that you will be able to play more of the game in a session rather than a shorter game where things are really optimized and you have to reset a lot in order to clean up any mistakes that you might have just because you don't have a lot of time to work with. So let's talk about how long Shadow Generations is currently. Let's look at the leaderboard really quick. So this is the any percent leaderboard, and the world record is held by Alpha Dolphin as of 12:23, and it is a 105 flat LRT and a 109 RTA. So if you guys aren't familiar with what these mean, basically, this time is like all of the time, including loads, from when the game starts on first input to ends on last input. This time is essentially the same. Live Split is able to hook into the game and remove the time for loads. And why is that important? Well, some people will have better PCs than others, so in order to not give an unfair advantage, we have LRT here, or loadless as we call it, and I am currently 7th place. Dang, bro hasn't PB'd in forever. So as you can see, Shadow Generations is a pretty short game, all things considered. Now, of course, there's shorter games and there's shorter categories that are out there, but I definitely wouldn't think of Shadow Gens as a long speed run. So any mistakes that you make in the game are very punishing and could risk losing your run basically at any moment, especially at high level. Personally, I think that this is a blessing and a curse. I prefer my speedruns to be shorter. You can like tell based on the games that I've ran. Most of them don't last longer than an hour because I like getting multiple attempts in. I like knowing that even if I get a run that messes up in late game, that I will more than likely be able to do another attempt right after and still have plenty of time to finish out that attempt. And that's why I like speedrunning shorter games. But that's not the only thing that goes into what makes a good speed game, so let's continue. Next is the general movement and tech. If you haven't seen what Shadow looks like when he's moving in this game, there's a very fundamental tech that exists in this game that we call spear maxing or chaos spear glide, whichever you prefer. I like spear maxing. I think it's a funnier name. But anyway, so spear maxing, what it does, if you haven't seen, is Shadow can maintain his speed in the air with Chaos Spear as long as he is doing the animation for it. So what you'll see a lot of times is people spamming Chaos Spear as they're in the air. It is worth noting that you do not need to press the button as fast as some runners do. It is just a comfort thing. The only thing that matters for maintaining your speed is how much speed you have before you press the spear button, and then you have the entire duration of the animation, which is about like a second, to press the button again to continue maintaining that speed. You don't need to press it as fast as humanly possible. It's just you need to press it immediately after doing an input. So I have Chaos Spear bound to this trigger to make that easier for me. I don't know how noticeable it is on the camera, but I'm doing bum bum, one right after the other. And the same thing can be said for the jump. So like if I do like a boost jump spear, it looks something like this, right? Where I'm just like kind of rolling the inputs to make sure that I can get as much speed out of it as possible. And you can tell here, you can still maintain the speed through a double jump as long as you don't do the double jump animation for too long. So clearing big gaps like this is easily done as long as you have proper timing. Now, this is the main tech for the run, and I think it makes the run really fun. It makes it pretty button press heavy, which I also kind of enjoy, which I understand that that's not everybody's thing. As long as you're not spamming spear, I don't think this game is too difficult on the hands, but you know, results may vary. Obviously, if you're playing the game every day for like 6+ hours a day, then yeah, it's probably gonna bother your hands a little bit. I actually think that this game would be a lot worse of a speed game if it didn't have spear maxing, but it does, so we don't even have to worry about it. And there's been, I think, already 1 or 2 patches since the release of the game, and it seems that the devs have every intention of leaving spear maxing in the game. So we're chilling. The next thing that we want to talk about is like how easy it is to reset the game. Dude, resetting this game is a dream, but that is yet again a blessing and a curse. And the reason being, there's a really difficult trick at the beginning of the run called Sha Spectac or to glitch. Well, yes, we have multiple names for tricks because some people don't like the funny names, and that's okay. But anyways, Sha Spectac is very difficult and happens within the first 30 seconds of the run. So if you don't get it quickly, you can very easily reset. You click new game on the main menu, and especially with the auto splitter, it makes it so easy to just spam A, hold A to skip the cutscene, and you're suddenly in another run. And if you have like a really fast computer, you're in another run in less than like 3 seconds. I wish I was exaggerating, but that is legitimately how fast it is to get into another run, which is huge. There are some games where a reset means you have to sit through multiple minutes of cutscenes, like Super Mario Sunshine or Majora's Mask, where the beginning is just very tedious. And of course, like those games, specifically Sunshine, has done things like added like hacked files where you can start a game after the beginning cutscenes to make it easier for runners to grind out attempts and also make it more fun and more watchable. But luckily, Shadow does not suffer from any of these issues at all. It is a very fast game to get into. But again, the reason why it's a curse is because if it's so easy to reset a run and get back into the next one, that just incentivizes people resetting more when you make early game mistakes. And so yeah, let's talk about how difficult is a speedrun. Well, Shadow Generations, the better that you get at the game, I would say at first, this game is very easy to pick up because there's not a lot that you have to learn route-wise. The game pretty much leads you where you need to go each time. Yes, the open zone area exists, which we can talk a little bit about, but it's basically pretty uninteresting for the most part. It's not open enough to where it makes it really difficult to route in things. There's fast traveling because you can just pick the stage from the menu and teleport to wherever you need to go. But alas, I'm getting sidetracked. The game's difficulty is pretty high. I would say that like making execution errors feels like getting shot in game, of course. But like if you mess up a challenge, I think almost every challenge in the game doesn't have checkpoints. And because of that, it makes it incredibly easy to lose time in. You could die at the very end of the surf spin challenge or miss a ring or two at the end of Ring Collector and then have to get backup rings that end up wasting you insane amounts of time. Like this game is very punishing. It is a very rewarding speedrun and it feels so satisfying to be able to execute, but there is no getting around the fact that this game is difficult. Not to mention, we've added a bunch of new skips recently. In fact, I've recorded this video, by the way, like 3 times. Okay, because we keep finding stuff and I really want to release this video, but I want to release it in like a state where it's like, okay, this is more up to date with the current strats of the game. But anyways, we keep finding new strats. So there's Sha Spectac. Immediately after that, you have to play Rail Canyon, a very punishing stage that has a lot of time save if you know what you're doing, but also has a bunch of really risky skips that save big chunks of time. Immediately after that, we have Rail Canyon Act 2, which if you haven't seen this, check this shit out, man. Bro is launching across the stage. Do you know how hard that is? Now, to be fair, you can reattempt it like once or twice, but like, bro. Another big one that got found recently, Radical Highway 1 Fling or Piss Skip or whatever. I don't even know what this game, we have too many strats, okay? Look at this. You get loop speed, you get Shadow on top of this roof here, and you slowly walk him off so that he can touch the back of the loop to get loop speed, and he gets launched through the level. Now that's cool and all. And actually this variation here that I'm gonna show is pretty easy, but there's another version that saves like 15 more seconds. That's way harder. All right, it's just got like, and this is at the end of the game. It's very difficult. And as you can tell, I've been losing sleep over it because I took a little bit of a break from the game. I didn't want to burn out. And then they found all these strats and it's just like, hey, you guys, stop, slow down. I'm old as fuck, bro. I'm unk. I'm almost like 30, bro. Chill. You think that I got time to learn all that? No, man, I got other games to play. I gotta play other video games. Who am I kidding? I'm a fucking Twitch streamer. Anyways, there's only a few other things I really wanted to talk about with the game. I'm sure you guys have seen that there's in-game leaderboards for time trial times. Some of you may be confused about why some people have insane times on these levels. Well, they're cheating. They are cheating. There's people that have been using mods on the online mode. I'm sure you guys can figure that out on your own. One of the things I would say that is a little bit more annoying with this game for learning compared to other games is that a lot of people will do individual level speedruns to get the best in-game time because that is how the leaderboard tracks it in-game. That's how the leaderboard actually tracks it on SRC, but it's actually slower than what we would do in the any percent run. And why is that? If you're doing individual level speedruns, you're grinding specifically to get a good chaos control route. So that means you go out of your way to route in more enemies, as well as more chaos control capsules, and it overall will end up saving time with the in-game timer because time stops. You have 5 seconds every single time you activate chaos control to get more enemies and make a little bit of progress in the stage. Because of the fact that duping chaos control capsules is a very simple thing to do, which by the way, if you just are grounded and you hold Y as you run into a chaos control capsule, you'll get another one immediately after if you didn't know. Very easy speedrunning trick. And that's helpful for the game because we have to manage our boost meter in the game. So having access to chaos control, which gives you a full boost meter, is extremely helpful to just have. But if we're doing an any percent run, we don't go out of our way to farm chaos control because it actually is slower. If we look at one of the best times for Kingdom Valley, we have Katie4. Katie4 is a well-known speedrunner. She doesn't play this game very much. She IL'd a lot of Kingdom Valley Act 1. She got a time in Kingdom Valley of 141.99. That's an insane time for Kingdom Valley Act 1. But here's the thing. This video is 3.5 minutes long. The attempt started right at the beginning. This is where the timer starts, like 2 seconds into the video. But when she makes it to the end here, you can see that she's been in the stage now for about 3 minutes real time, but in the stage got a 141. And like, that's insane, right? Like that's dope. And it's really interesting to try to develop your own routes for chaos control because you have to be a little bit more creative than just going as fast as possible. But it's very bad if you're trying to like learn the speedrun to use these as a tool to practice. The only thing you can really do is look at any of the any percent runs that are on the leaderboards, and maybe in the strats channel in the Discord if you guys aren't in there and you're interested in learning the speedrun. I'll have a link in the description for maybe joining the Discord, or at least to the SRC page, because I tried to make an invite before and it didn't let me, so you can just get an invite from the SRC page. So overall, what do I think of the game? What do I think of it long term? I think this game is really dope. I know I've been complaining a little bit. It's just because I've been salty about how hard the game is. I got to put in more time and more effort. That's all it is. I think overall, this is one of the most fun speed games I've ever played. And after the couple of months that I've been running it, it feels different than even like Sonic Frontiers for me. Because I enjoyed Sonic Frontiers a lot on release because of the recency bias. And then as time went on, I didn't enjoy it as much. I still think it's a really great speed game, but I burnt myself to a crisp playing that game, bro. Which is why I've been trying to dial back how much I play Shadow Generations. But I definitely think that playing the Shadow Generations speedrun is worth a try. I think the game is only going to become more difficult over time, but I don't think it's like impossible, you know? It's not like, it's definitely something that is tied to your overall skill in the game, much less than understanding all of the really like niche tricks. So like, I think you still get rewarded for how much time you put into a game. And I think that that is also extremely important. I think it'll last a while as long as there's people that want to get a time that's like close to record, as long as record still feels attainable. And at the moment, there's only a few people that I would say are really capable of getting that time, but that's only gonna, like, as people get better, as like the player base just gets better in this game, I could honestly see a new person getting into the fray of being world record level within like the next week. You know, that's like the type of thing I'm talking about. The game is still new. I don't think sub-hour is going to happen anytime soon. You can put me down as a prediction for that. It has, in the multiple times I've recorded this video, each time still not thought that sub-hour is possible. And we keep finding like new strats, new time saves that are like a minute here almost, 40 seconds there. And even then, it is still not enough to get us down to that sub-hour range. I think alpha's some of best right now is probably like a 102 at the best. So we got to find at least a couple more minutes of time save. This game is dope. It has great skill expression. It's a comfortable level of difficulty as long as you want to put in the time. I definitely think you guys should give this a run and try. Go for it. I'll be probably speedrunning it on my channel. And if you guys want to check me out, that's on my Twitch. Subscribe if you're not. If you made it through this whole video, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Maybe I'll make another video or two about Shadow Gen speedrunning. Bye. I'll see you guys.